discussing about the topic media and information sources in lesson 5. So our learning objectives our learning objectives, by the end of this lesson, you will be able to A. Identify the different sources of information, B. Compare potential sources of media and information, C. Determine the accuracy, reliability, and value of information by questioning the source of data. Napalo.
Sources of media and information. Information can come from many places like books, the media, internet, and our own experiences. We chose the source based on what kind of information we need. So the first example of the sources of media and information is the indigenous knowledge. Indigenous knowledge is a knowledge of a community passed down from elders to the younger generation. It comes from their culture, traditions, and daily life. An example of the indigenous knowledge is the Muyong. The Muyong of the Ifugao shows how they take care of their land in a traditional way. This knowledge shared within the community using their own language and practices to protect nature and their culture. Indigenous media's characteristics are as follows. First is oral tradition of communication. Second is store information and memories. Third is information exchange is face-to-face, and lastly, information is contained within the border of the community.
So we can also find sources from the library. It is a place in which literary, musical, artistic, or reference materials such as books, manuscripts, recordings, or films are kept for use but not for sale. Its main role is to organize and provide you access information and labeled as steward of good information. So we have here the types of library. We have academic library. It serves colleges and universities, while the public library, it serves cities and towns of all types. Then we also have school library. It serves students from kindergarten to grade 12. Then lastly is the special library. These are in specialized environments such as hospitals, corporations, museums, the military, private business, and the government. So we can also find sources from the internet. It is a global computer network providing a variety of information and communication facilities, consisting of interconnected networks using standardized communication protocols. Unlike similar information found in newspapers or television broadcasts, information available on the internet is not regulated for quality or accuracy. Therefore, it is particularly important for the individual internet user to evaluate the resource or information. Keep in mind that almost anyone can publish anything they wish on the web. It is often difficult to determine authorship of the web sources, and even if the author is listed, he or she may not always represent him or herself honestly, or he or she may represent opinions as fact.
So next, how will you evaluate the information you found on the internet? Well, let's find out. So first is authorship. It is critical to relate the ideas you find at a site to an author, organization, or business. In this way, there is a degree of accountability of any of the ideas expressed. Be especially wary in a site which the author or sponsoring organization is not clearly stated. Publishing body, anyone with an internet service provider or AT&T, NUP.net, and NMU, and etc. can put up a web page. As a result, you need to have some ideas whether the group claiming responsibility for the information of the website is legitimate. So authorship refers to the one who created the information. This could be a person, organization, a school, a company, and a government agency. So second is accuracy and verifiability. A source of information is known to be scholarly when it provides reference to the information presented. In this way, the reader can confirm whether the information is accurate or the author's conclusion is reasonable. A page without reference still may be useful as an example of the ideas of an individual, organization, or business, but not as a source of information. So accuracy and verifiability refers to whether the information is correct and whether it can be checked or proven using reliable source. So third is currency. Some information is very time sensitive. For example, a page is talking about the top-rated web search engine in 1997. It is going to be horribly out in date 2000. There have been an incredible changes in the search engine technology and new developments appear almost monthly. However, a page is discussing a civil war that is likely still relevant today even if the page was created in 1996 and has not been updated. Regardless, a site should always provide some indication of when the information was created or the site was last updated.
I will be discuss the skill in determining the credibility of information. First is check the author. You can see the author's credentials, expertise, and reputation. Next is check the data publication or update, so you can ensure the information if it is current and relevant. Third is check for citation, so you can verify the information if it is supported by credible sources. Lastly is check the domain or owner of the sites or pages, so you can understand the purpose and potential biases of website like commercial, educational, and so on. For the next slide, alternative forms of communication and distribution such as social media, blogs, and flash mob performance have become popular. These forms provide greater freedom and power to ordinary individuals and are a quicker way of distributing information. However, the downside is that the lot of information being passed around is biased and inaccurate. So, social media, blogs, and flash mob performance have made it easier for people to share their thoughts, ideas, but it's essential to be critical of the info being shared. Next is skill in determining the accuracy of information. First is look for facts. So you can verify the information if it's factual and supported by evidence. Next is cross-reference with other sources for consistency. So you can compare the information to other reliable sources to make sure the consistency and accuracy. Next is determine the reason for writing and publishing the information, so you can consider the author purpose and potential biases. Lastly, check for the advertising. Be aware that the advertisers is use the related information to market.
So next we have accuracy, reliability, and value of information. So for number 1, reliability. Information is said to be reliable if can be verified and evaluated. Others refer to the trustworthiness of the source in evaluating the reliability of information. So in information, you need to check if the information can be trusted or is it reliable to us. If it's real, and for example, information from teachers, books, or other trusted websites are more reliable than rumors or guesses. So for number 2, accuracy of information. So accuracy refers to the closeness of the report to the actual data. Measurement of accuracy varies depending on the type of information being evaluated. So what do you mean by accuracy? So accuracy means how correct the information is. So for example, forecasts are said to be accurate if the information is like the actual data. Financial information is considered accurate if the values are correct, properly classified, and presented. So accuracy means that how correct the information is. If the information matches the real data, then the information is accurate. So for example, it says the report says that there are 40 students, and if there are really 40 students in the classroom, then that means the information is accurate. So for number 3, value of information. You said information is said to be of value if it aids the user in making or improving decisions. So in information, you need to check if that information is useful to you. Um, it can Is it useful for your research? Is it useful for making this or improving decisions? So for number 4, authority of the source. Much of the information we gather daily do not come from the primary source, but are passed on through secondary sources such as writers, reporters, and the like. Sources with an established expertise on the subject matter are considered as having sound authority on the subject. So you need to check where the information really first came from. So you found this inform so for example, you found this information on Facebook, and you need to check where this information actually came from. You need to ask who you need to ask where did this information come from. So like for example, this information came from the news, which is news or a trusted sources. So for number 5, timeliness. Reliability, accuracy, and value of information may vary based on the time it was produced or acquired. While a piece of information may have been found accurate, reliable, and valuable during the time it was produced, it may become irrelevant and inaccurate within the passing of time, thus making it less valuable. Other information may be timeless, proven to be the same in reliability, accuracy, and value throughout history. So meaning you need to check if the information is still is there. You need to know that there are information that is old and it is not reliable anymore. So however, just like in our history class in our Araling Panlipunan, um, it can also be useful and be useful throughout history. And so that ends our presentation. Thank you everyone for listening.